Chapter 13. Mr. Selfridge had begun to take an interest in the proceedings. As the two men passed out, he aroused and asked, "Have you reached a settlement, Mr. Meyer? Will the insurance be paid?" "No," roared the underwriter, in the ear of the puzzled old gentleman, while he slapped him vigorously on the back. "It will not be paid. You or I must have been ruined, Mr. Selfridge, and it has settled on you. I do not pay their Titan's insurance, nor will their other insurers. On the contrary, as their collision clause in their policy is void with the rest, your company must reimburse me for their insurance, which I must pay to their royal age owners. That is, unless our good friend here, Mr. Rowland, who was on their lookout at the time, will swear that her lights were out." "Not at all," said Rowland. "Her lights were burning. Look to the old gentleman," he exclaimed. "Look out for him. Catch him." Mr. Selfridge was stumbling toward the chair. He grasped it, loosened his hold, and before anyone could reach him, fell to the floor, where he lay, with ashen lips and rolling eyes, gasping convulsively. "Heart failure," said Rowland, as he knelt by his side. "Send for a doctor." "Send for a doctor," repeated Mr. Meyer through the door to his clerks. "And send for a carriage, quick. I don't want him to die in the office." Captain Barry lifted the helpless figure to a couch, and they watched, while the convulsions grew easier, the breeze shorter, and the lips from ashen gray to blue. Before a doctor or a carriage had come, he had passed away. "Sudden emotion of some kind," said the doctor when he did arrive. "Violent emotion, too. Hear bad news?" "Bad and good," answered the underwriter. "Good in learning that this dear little girl was his granddaughter. Bad in learning that he was a ruined man. He was their heaviest stockholder in their Titan. £100,000 he owned of their stock, all of which this poor dear little child will not get." Mr. Meyer looked sorrowful as he patted Myra on the head. Captain Barry beckoned to Rowland, who, slightly flushed, was standing by the still figure on the couch and watching the face of Mr. Meyer, on which annoyance, jubilation, and simulated shock could be seen in turn. "Wait," he said as he turned to watch the doctor leave the room. "Is this so, Mr. Meyer?" he added to the underwriter, "that Mr. Selfridge owned Titan stock, and would have been ruined had he lived by the loss of the insurance money?" "Yes, he would have been a poor man. He had invested his last farthing, £100,000. And if he had left any more, it would be assessed to make good his share of what their company must pay for their royal age, which I also insured. Was there a collision clause in the Titan's policy? There was. And you took the risk, knowing that she was to run the northern lane at full speed through fog and snow? I did. So did others. Then, Mr. Meyer, it remains for me to tell you that the insurance of the Titan will be paid, as well as any liabilities included in and specified by the collision clause in the policy. In short, I, the one man who can prevent it, refuse to testify." "What?" Mr. Meyer grasped the back of a chair and, leaning over it, stared at Rowland. "You will not testify? What do you mean?" "What I said. And I do not feel called upon to give you my reasons, Mr. Meyer." "My good friend," said the underwriter, advancing with outstretched hands to Rowland, who backed away and, taking Myra by the hand, moved toward the door. Mr. Meyer sprang ahead, locked it, and removed the key and faced them. "Oh, mein gut Gott," he shouted, relapsing in his excitement into the more pronounced dialect of his race. "What I do to you, hey? Why you go back on me, hey? Have I not paid their doctor's bill? Have I not paid for their garage? Have I not treated you like one gentleman? Have I not, hey? I sit you down in mine office and call you Mr. Rowland. Have I not been one gentleman? Open that door, said Rowland quietly. Yes, open it, repeated Captain Barry, his puzzled face clearing at the prospect of action on his part. Open it, or I'll kick it down. But you, my friend, heard their admission of their captain, of their drugging. One good witness will do, two is better. But you will swear, my friend, you will not ruin me. I stand by Rowland, said the captain grimly. I don't remember what was said, anyhow. Got a blame bad memory. Get away from that door. Grievous lamentation, weepings and wailings, and the most genuine gnashing of teeth, interspersed with the feeble cries of the frightened Myra, and punctuated by terse comments in regard to the door, filled that private office, to the wonder of the clerks without, and ended, at last, with the crashing of the door from its hinges. Captain Barry, Rowland, and Myra, followed by a parting, art-born malediction from the agitated underwriter, left the office and reached the street. The carriage that had brought them was still waiting. "Settle inside," called the captain to the driver. "We'll take another, Rowland." Around the first corner, they found a cab, which they entered, Captain Barry giving the driver the direction. "Bark Peerless, East India Dock." "I think I understand the game, Rowland," he said, as they started. "You don't want to break this child." "That's it," answered Rowland weakly, as he leaned back on the cushion, faint from the excitement of the last few moments. "And as for the right or wrong of the position I am in, why, we must go farther back for it than the question of lookouts. The cause of the wreck was full speed in a fog. All hands on lookout could not have seen that berg. The underwriters knew the speed and took the risk. Let them pay." "Right, and I'm with you on it. But you must get out of the country. I don't know the law on the matter, but they may compel you to testify. You can't ship for the mast again, that's settled. But you can have a berth mate with me as long as I sail a ship, if you'll take it. And you're to make my cabin your home as long as you like. Remember that. Still, I know you want to get across with the kid. And if you stay around until I sail it, maybe months before you get to New York, with the chance of losing her by getting foul of English law. But just leave it to me. There are powerful interests at stake in regard to this matter." What Captain Barry had in mind, Rowland was too weak to inquire. On their arrival at the bark, he was assisted by his friend to a couch in the cabin, where he spent the rest of the day, unable to leave it. Meanwhile, Captain Barry had gone ashore again. Returning toward evening, he said to the man on the couch, "I've got your pay, Rowland," and signed a receipt for it to that attorney. He paid it out of his own pocket. "You could have worked that company for 50,000 or more. But I knew you wouldn't touch their money, and so only struck him for your wages. You're entitled to a month's pay. Here it is. American money about 17. He gave Rowland a roll of bills. "Now, here's something else, Rowland," he continued, producing an envelope. "In consideration of the fact that you lost all your clothes and later your arm through the carelessness of the company's officers, Mr. Thompson offers you this." Rowland opened the envelope. In it were 2 first cabin tickets from Liverpool to New York. Flushing hotly, he said bitterly, "It seems that I'm not to escape it, after all. Take him, old man, take him. In fact, I took him for you, and you and the kid are booked. And I made Thompson agree to settle your doctor's bill and expenses with that Cheney. 'Tisn't bribery. I'd heal you myself for the run over, but hang it, you'll take nothing from me. You've got to get the young un over. You're the only one to do it. The old gentleman was an American, alone here. I hadn't even a lawyer that I could find. The boat sails in the morning, and the night train leaves in 2 hours. Think of that mother, Rowland. Why, man, I'd travel around the world to stand in your shoes when you hand Myra over. I've got a child of my own." The captain's eyes were winking hard and fast, and Rowland's were shining. "Yes, I'll take the passage," he said, with a smile. "I accepted the bribe." "That's right. You'll be strong and healthy when you land, and when that mother's through sinking you, and you have to think of yourself, remember, I want a mate, and we'll be here a month before sailing. Write to me, Care All Lloyds, if you want the berth, and I send you advance money to get back with." "Thank you, Captain," said Rowland, as he took the other's hand and then glanced at his empty sleeve. "But my going to sea is ended. Even a mate needs 2 hands." "Well, suit yourself, Rowland. I'll take you mate without any hands at all while you add your brains. It's done me good to meet a man like you. And say, old man, you won't take it wrong from me, will you? It's none of my business, but you're too all-fire good a man to drink. You haven't had a nip for 2 months. Are you going to begin?" "Never again," said Rowland, rising. "I have a future now, as well as a past.